Good morning, everybody, and a very, very warm welcome to Ask the Accountant. Today is episode number 56, and the date is the 13th of November, 2023. And we've got a cracker of a show lined up for you. So, first and foremost, Jan, welcome back. How's your week been? You had a good week, etc., etc.? How's it going?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. Not too bad, all things considered. So not too bad at all. Good to be back. Just trying to get back into the flow of things. So started picking up a few client engager bits Thursday, Friday last week. Podcasting with you this morning to try and get back into some routine, and then half day today, but then crack on over the next few days trying to get everything into some resemblance of order. I've got over 600 emails sat there waiting for me, which is giving me the heebie-jeebies. But you know, what landmines are in there for me to discover? Who knows?
It's good to have you back. Good to have you back.
Thank you very much. I'll just say though, before we move on, last week's episode was phenomenal. Like, I watched it and / listened to it whilst dealing with various things, but the fact that the technology was there to allow people to jump in as random guests, like I'm really enjoyed that format, and I think we'll have to definitely do something with that at some point in the future, because that was fantastic to be able to welcome people into the podcast. So hats off for thinking of that last minute, Aaron. You did a great job.
Wow, couldn't have done it without Paul and Natasha as well. So good morning, Paul.
Fantastic guests.
Yeah,
fantastic spur of the moment guests.
Good insights, wasn't it? And I mean, very Luca awards, wasn't it? But it was good because it kind of prepped everyone for that day as well. And you know, even a lot of people. Oh, Natasha's here as well, brilliant. So yeah, Paul and Natasha stepped up and absolutely brilliant. So thank you to you guys. I think you're right. Yeah, we definitely need to do one of those every so often, just to have a bit of a community-led version of it. And it's good to get those insights, isn't it? And to we're telling everyone our opinions, but actually it's our community that actually has the strongest opinion, right? And it's great to have them involved and bring them in. So thank you very much. And
maybe they'll keep some of our opinions more muted so that we don't get into so much
trouble. Yeah, it was funny actually. We didn't get into any trouble last week. First one we've done for a while of not getting in trouble, not having to have the legal team on. So, wonder what the reason is for that one. Wonder what what changed.
Very good though. Very good episode.
Exactly. Yeah. No. And again, thanks to the two guys stepping in. So speaking of community, though, we've got Dave here. We've got Kirsty here. We've got a little story about her in a few moments' time. Got good old LinkedIn user. We always like a good LinkedIn user coming in and brightening up our day. It's good to see in person last month. It certainly was. It was actually. It was great to thank you for your card, your little business card as well. It's good to see that one. The listeners coming in and saying hello. Paul says, glad to have you back. Nat and I aren't able to fill in the book boots just yet. Exactly. But I mean, you did a fantastic job. Let's put it this way. Paul says, good morning, everybody. Christina says, is this recorded somewhere? Yes, Christina, it is recorded everywhere. So every platform that you can see on at the moment. So we've got Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn. It's all going to be there on demand after we finish. And also your podcasting services of choice as well. So if you want to get yourself onto Spotify podcasts or Apple podcasts or even Google podcasts, or actually I think they're called YouTube podcasts now, but either way, you can still get yourself on there. Good morning, Natasha. Good morning, Louise. Good morning, Kirsty again. And good morning, Marcus. Hope you are all well. So thank you very much. Again, your role is to keep us honest. So if we say anything out of line or wrong, or you want to correct us on anything, then that's what you're here to do. So use those comments to your will. Right, we have a lot to go through today. So I think we need to rattle through some of these. Let's put it that way.
No tangents, no filibustering, no soapbox operas. Let's crack on.
Right. Are you sure this is Ask the Accountant? did we turn the right one?
It's a whole new format.
Unknown territory, this one. All right, let's talk about Luca. You know what? Every time I've said it, I put Lucas. Not one person's ever corrected me. But it's not Lucas Awards, it's Luca Awards. But it was a fantastic event. I mean, I can't believe it was a week ago, actually. That just shows what sort of week it's been. Yeah, to think that was a week ago is absolutely surreal. But yeah, the Luca Awards was a fantastic night. I was very, very impressed. It's the first time I've ever done anything ICB related. But the idea of seeing how their community just all gets together and all, like, the amount of friendliness in that room was ridiculous compared to what we normally see on if you go to any other of these, um, uh, ICAW or anything like that, compared to that, this was absolutely crazy. But the awards itself was a great night and some worthy winners out there. I think we need to point out some of the listeners of the show. So Kirsty herself got small practice. No, small practice of the year. I'm reading them off here. Small practice of the year award was for Kirsty. So Kirsty, John, congratulations on that one. Well deserved. And large practice went to Penelope, who's a pit stop podcaster. I think even that did that go live this week as well, or is that due next week?
I think it's due next week.
Yeah, it's very, very soon, isn't it?
James from Hammock went live last week.
That was the one. Yeah. So Penelope won large practice of the year, and I think both of those thoroughly deserve that one. We also had who was it? It wasn't influencer of the year. Was it? Yeah, social media influencer of the year went to Lara Martin as well. That was well deserved. Yep. Okay, so let's just talk about maybe an elephant in the room, but who got bookkeeping personality award? Was it Johann Gory?
No,
unfortunately,
it was the more than worthy Kirsty.
Well, yeah, exactly. Kirsty walked away with it, which we were very happy to see. And you should have seen the smile, what do you call it? Smile on her face.
Probably still there.
Yeah, exactly. I thought Kirsty also got. Why did I think? Oh no, sorry. The person who got small practice of the industry award was sat next to me. That's why I got confused there. Yeah. It was
Helen.
There was a lot of awards to go through. But yeah, I think we figured that one out. But no, Kirsty got well deserved bookkeeping personality of the year award, which was great to see. And again, it just showed the friendliness, right? The second that she won, probably got the biggest cheer of the night of everyone there. I think it was just it was a community award more than anything else.
One thing that, well, no, that's horrible of me to say. It's not the one thing the ICB nail, but it is their primary thing that whenever you speak to anyone about ICB, IAB, AAT, people always rave about the community and the peer support that the ICB have created and crafted and supported, which is incredible to see.
Yeah, you can definitely tell it. I mean, I think one of the conversations was you cut yourself and you bleed ICB sort of idea, and you can see that that is definitely apparent. I think we need to talk about some of the categories that we are more attuned to in this for this podcast, and that's the software vendors. Some strange ones. Payroll of the year went to BrightPay. Fair enough, but I again, we spoke about this in the pre-show. Where was all the newcomers in that category? I don't know. I think that's mainly because comfortably numb, isn't it, in the payroll space at the moment?
Yeah, these awards, you're put forward for the awards by ICB members. So if ICB members haven't adopted cloud payroll yet, then that's why it's not going to be put forwards. Having said that, I don't think that's a tarnish on ICB members at all. I think that's just a representation of the industry at the whole. Is exactly the majority still haven't adopted cloud-based payroll because they see it as too expensive.
Yeah. So do you think next year we've got Employment Hero and QuickBooks payroll making a dent into it?
I still don't think they're going to make a huge. The problem is still the pricing and the perception of value in the tools within the suite of product. So I still think, yes, we're getting more cloud payroll software products out there, but are they really making a dent on the market?
It's tricky, isn't it? Yeah, it is a tricky one. Friendliest software of the year went to Free Agent again. I have no major complaints with that. I feel like they are a friendly bunch.
They are.
I was gutted the client engager on that one. I thought that was an opportunity, right? Like new to the table. It'll be a difficult one to take off. They've got such an ironclad grasp of that one, right? That would have been a difficult one to wrestle from them. There wasn't that much competition, in fairness, if that's fair to say.
Yeah, like they are a really friendly bunch. they're always very welcoming and chatty and stuff. I know their support is phenomenal. I know how they recruit their support people, and with accounting backgrounds and bookkeeping backgrounds and stuff to help with support. So it's not just technical support, but it's actually implementation support they offer, which is really good. And it's not those people that are training you. I like the QuickBooks training team. They are qualified, experienced people in their field.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, fantastic for free agent to walk away with that one again.
And they have legendary nights out, from what I've heard from you as well.
Yeah,
bad
my
on the
liver
liver,
still
but-
twitches at the thought of it.
So I think that does have something to do with it, right? Client app of the year. Now, again, you guys were in for a shout. It was a weird category to be in, right? Because we were trying to debate on the day, like, exactly what does that represent? Is it the client facing part of it, or is it an app that helps you help your clients? It was a bit, so client engagement there was great to be nominated for that one, but that was probably the strangest of categories to be involved in, right? In terms of,
yeah, it was basically, I think we were there because of our client portal, which yes, in the theory is going to be an app in the next couple of weeks, but it's the client portal and how simple it is and how helpful it is and stuff, that you click on a link, it takes you straight to the document through the login screen and then to the document you've got to sign, that kind of thing. But again, if we're looking at number of votes and number of people that have put in for things, then QuickBooks has got a much bigger user base than us. So that, anyone in theory, if it's number of votes, regardless of how passionate our users are, if it's based on volume, then yeah, the big boys are always going to have a better upper hand on this.
Yeah, completely agree. And one of the big boys did win, and it was an awkward win on this one because QuickBooks. So I was very happy for this. And if you looked at the room, there was probably 4 people cheering at this point, and I was one of them, and Kirsty was probably another. Yeah, so QuickBooks walked away with it, which I'm really happy to see. But there was a bit of controversy about their attendance at the event, and there was a few underhand comments from other vendors, put it that way, which may have tarnished their victory in that particular one. So yeah, awkward, but I think they got an award, and they've think about. I don't think they've even acknowledged it on social media or anything, have they?
I get the feeling there might be some sourness in that relationship between ICB and QuickBooks at the moment. Just from, if they've pulled out, if QuickBooks has pulled out, they won't have done it lightly. It will have been due to logistics and stuff like that. But yeah, it seems to have soured people's opinions, and which is a shame, especially when you look at the campaign that they've just run, which we'll talk about later.
Exactly right. Exactly. Bookkeeping software of the year went to some software called Xero or something, I think. Yeah. Who knows, right? Yeah, I don't know how they got that one. Yeah. But I'm sure a lot of people like that software. But no, all jokes aside, they were there to enforce, and that's what you got to give credit to them. Their whole the whole stage was filled of Xero representation there. So
I didn't know that many employees left.
I know, right? Whereas QuickBooks had 2 people up there. Yeah. So yeah. Okay. Moving on. Then there was Business Bank went to Starling, as you can imagine. Yeah. So you can see kind of people. Obviously, it's still very much the good side of what Starling's doing at the moment, which is still great, the Challenger Bank and everything else. But I don't think enough people are aware of some of the challenges they've also had. If rumors are true, they're not letting people on for another year while they've got that big of a backlog of trying to get everything up to date. So yeah, hopefully, fingers crossed, they can get through that and continue to do some good. Who else have we got here? Okay, let's talk about the elephant in the room then. Practice management app.
Another elephant in the room. It's like the zoo.
Yeah, well, this is I mean, we could joke about the other one because the other one was, it was a funny little segue and everything else. But this one is just how why? Like, I don't know. Look, sometimes you look at these awards and you go, yeah, I understand. And we've gone through all of those and we can understand why each one of those have won. Like, there was no shocks. I don't think there was any other shocks in there. But for me, this one was a shock. And I'm not just necessarily saying that, you guys should have run away with it or anything, but I'm just confused about the winner. Yes, they may be or were a gold standard back in the day, but surely not now. Surely they don't still have that torch over everyone. I mean, or are we in such a blinkered view of the industry because of the circles we're in that we don't see what's happening throughout the rest of it? I don't know. So for anyone who didn't know, a county manager, or we'll talk about it in a moment, Bright manager won it this year. What were your thoughts on it, Jan, before I carry on and get off my soapbox?
My view is always going to be biased here, that I think Client Engager has done huge ripples and waves in the industry compared to this time last year where we didn't really exist. We hadn't gone to market by this point last year. So, yeah, my understanding is that all the ICB members vote by putting in their recommendations or ticking their boxes on these forms. The top 4 or 5 up with the most votes are shortlisted.
Yeah.
And then the person with the most votes out of that original vote is the winner.
Yeah.
So if you look at that, considering we're a year in and we're in their top 4 most used softwares for practice management, I'm taking that as a huge win. I do not believe Accountancy Manager won the Luca Award. Now, I need fact checking on this one. I could be completely wrong, but I don't believe Accountancy Manager came along and got shortlisted or won a Luca Award in the first year of trading as Accountancy Manager. So the fact that we've done that is an achievement in itself.
I mean, I suppose maybe that category wasn't even around back then. I'd imagine it's a newer category, right? Yeah.
Yeah, potentially. So yeah, look, fair play to Accountancy Manager, but as I said to my wife the other day, it's like, that's fine. They can have the trophy. We're taking the clients. So, we are picking up new users every single day at the moment, and we saw a surge because of the Luca Awards. So it's absolutely fine by me. They can have the trophy. We've not had time to build a trophy cabinet yet. And it's the last thing on our priority list because we've got upgrades and stuff to do. Like, we did a huge release last week, which we'll go through in a bit. But yeah, good for them.
I just not concern, but my issue I had with this particular victory was the fact that was this voted based on the perception of what it does now, and it's kind of become its own feature parity, and it is where it is, and I, like, if I take my bias hat off, Accounting Manager was a fundamental part of me running my practice 3-4 months ago before it all went south, right? So is that where people are voting with? They're comfortably known with a piece of software that is helping them grow their practice, and without them seeing anything else, they don't feel like their practice could run without it. Is that where these votes are coming from? Because if we base it on software that is looking to help you as a client, as a user at the moment, they're not doing that because their priority isn't Accounting Manager or Bright Manager at the moment. That's not their priority. Their priority is the ecosystem of Bright. And if you're in that ecosystem, I think you're gonna have a great time. Like, you are going, if you've got Bright Pay, if you've got BTC, if you've got all of those, then give it a couple of years, you are going to be having a really powerful suite of solutions. But if we're looking at just Accounting Manager at this point in time, then what is there other than it's a stable-ish platform are you to vote with? That's what I'm confused about. I mean, I still don't believe there's a proper practice management solution, but even Pixie's got their new Pixie 2.0, right? Like, they're bringing new things to the table that they believe is game changing and everything else. So yeah, I feel like maybe as an industry we're not doing enough to educate people in terms of what else is out there, and maybe that's down to us, possibly.
Yeah, like as you say, like in my opinion, Pixie should have been on that shortlist.
Mm.
If we weren't looking at user votes, if we were looking at thought leadership, innovation in the industry, Pixie should be there because they're looking at AI. Carbon should be there because they're looking at AI in a way that Accountancy Manager isn't even aware of AI, as it were, really, compared, like there's no talk from them about it whatsoever. We're testing ideas, we're monitoring it and stuff. But yeah, it's because I think it is literally a case of, because I've been a victim. I've done it myself in the past. Of there's an awards evening like Accounting Excellence Awards when they used to do software awards. You just go through and tick all the ones that you were using in your firm.
Yeah,
Like,
and I suppose there's recency bias as well there, isn't there? That's with all awards, right?
Yeah. So yeah, you just go with who you're using as a loyal customer, and go from there, really. Although I think Accounting Excellence Awards, you could tick someone and score them really poorly just to help.
Oh, really?
Yeah, just to really help drop their vote a bit. But not that I ever did that. But yes, it's if these awards are based on basically members that are using softwares, then Accountancy Manager, of course, are going to have market dominance over us. They've been going, 6 times longer than we have.
Yeah.
They've been going 3 times longer than Pixie. They've been going, like it is what it is. But we've just got to, we would have loved to have walked away with an award or 2. Don't get me wrong, but at the same time, you, Andy, Peter, Helen, you all had a great night, and Charlie had a great night. The fact that we were up there was huge for us in our first year. So, yeah, we weren't expecting to be up there to start with. So anything on top of that was always going to be the cherry on top of the ice cream. So, yeah. Whether should awards be based on user votes, or should you get shortlisted by user votes and then a judging panel reviews thought leadership, feature parity, innovations in the last year, progress in the last year or something? I think, if they did do that, we might have had a better chance. But yeah, we'll see. See what next year brings.
I think it's more of a wake-up call, especially in my eyes, of terms of maybe we're just not shouting loud enough. Maybe that's the issue. And maybe
it takes time for it takes time for word of mouth to spread.
True.
This time last year, when you went onto a Facebook group and someone said, "What's everyone recommending for practice management software?"
It'll only be Accountancy Manager, won't it? Really? Yeah.
Accountancy Manager, a few for Centre and a few for Pixie. Maybe 1 or 2 for Carbon. Now it's just Accountancy Manager and Client Engager, full stop.
Yeah.
So to get that market dominance in a year, it's just incredible. Yeah,
100%. But overall, though, fantastic night. Absolutely loved it. I think, maybe it's time to shout a bit louder about why we believe there are better solutions out there for people who aren't going to be in the Bright ecosystem going forward. Put it this way. Paul says, cloud payroll needs a new gimmick. Non-cloud payroll cannot reproduce to entice change. I completely agree in terms of the move from Bright Pay to Bright Cloud. That was an absolute ridiculous car crash at the beginning, wasn't it? They've pulled it back and they've re-released it. I hear that they are mostly feature parity now. I don't know 100% if they've got all of it yet. But yeah, agreed. It needs a new gimmick. I said a new gimmick. The gimmick is cloud-based, right? That is the gimmick. Like, you've told your story many a times, Johann, about how you don't have to trench through the snow anymore on your bike to go and run a payroll, right? Like that's a gimmick enough, isn't it? But and having opportunities to connect to different APIs.
No more backing up and sharing backups and hoping nothing corrupts. And
your client can log in and provide payroll information, all that sort of stuff. That's what the cloud basic is enough. I think employment are doing well dealing with that through their ecosystem. Yeah, and maybe it's a time for them, and maybe it was too early for them as well, because KeyPay has been around for a while, but employment here has only really just started to get prevalent. So yeah, fingers crossed for them. If you have any suggestion for categories, I'll put them to ITB. The category we've always talked about is some form of
Podcaster of the Year award.
Well, that for me, that's too niche, isn't it? I feel like because there's so many good YouTube channels.
There's so many good podcasts out there now for accounting in the UK.
There is, but I think it's just social media channel maybe, or something like that. I feel like because there's so many good training videos out there. There's so many good those sort of I feel like there's a category to mull over there, isn't there? And again, we're not pushing it just for us to win or anything like that. It's just I think the industry needs to have recognition of those. More so,
there's a lot of fantastic people out there putting out great content, from QuickBooks Chap through to six-figure bookkeepers. Bev Flanagan is starting to do a lot of great stuff. You've got Ashley Lee doing. You've got Phil Hoban doing stuff. You've got so much out there. DigiTools from Accrual World. There's so much out there that is vital in keeping us all up to date with the news, that we really ought to be recognizing that group of people, whether it's through videos, podcasts, whatever their method of communication they're using. We need to recognize and support them for the work they're doing.
Because even just having a little tick box of just a tick to say, they should be shortlisted or not. I mean, that's huge, right? Like, they're the sort of things that could really help push the channels to, to the next load of people to give their opinions and community and everything else, isn't it? So yeah, it'd be great to push that forward. US auditor, if they have to start a solo practice, that software, what software would you use for both the audit and tax side? Big question, probably a long list, but remember this is a solo practice. If they had
so this is someone over in the US who's looking to get a software. So because we're based in the UK, we're not fully aware of what's going on in the US market software wise. But the people to speak to would be Jason Stats. He does some great videos on YouTube and daily podcasts, I think, where he reviews all sorts of different tools. So that'd be worth watching through. We've also got what was the Cloud Accounting Podcast. I believe it's now called the Accounting Podcast.
Accounting.
They've got years worth of podcasts there to listen to and hit.
They go live on a Friday. Is it a Friday?
Yeah, they go live on YouTube, don't they? Now and record live. So yeah, I would tune into those to have and ask that question to those. The Accounting Podcast take questions all the time. And will happily share their insights for you, just like we would if we were in the US.
He has got a new podcast, newish podcast, hasn't he? He's got is it the unofficial QuickBooks?
The unofficial QuickBooks podcast, yes.
Yeah. So I think with those three, you'll be absolutely fine. I mean, personally, I would look at QuickBooks because I'm very biased on that situation. You'd have everything you need there. But particularly in the UK auditing side, Silverfin's been something that's been talked about a lot in terms of keeping yourself compliant. So yeah, definitely look at those podcasts, but then look into those two, I would say. Sue says, good morning to Sue. Changing practice management software is probably a bigger challenge for firms if they already have one. Yeah, it's a massive challenge, Paul. Yeah, especially if you have to do it over a weekend. Very big challenge. LinkedIn user says there are still people that haven't heard of Client Engager. We keep spreading the word, and thank you for that. Kirsty says the deadline for voting was 25th of September. So agreed. Client Engager did amazing to be shortlisted first year. I think there are problems with all of the others. Yeah, I don't know if it's necessarily major problems with them. I feel like again, it's just for me, the accounting manager or Bright manager, it just feels blinkered at the moment. They're so focused on their ecosystem and everything else that they haven't really done anything to the software. And if anything, when it goes wrong and it breaks, they don't seem to be that pragmatic to fix it either. So yeah, maybe it's something that we can see later down the line and go from there. And Adam says, Paul, everyone has a favorites. Really, it's more a popularity contest, not why the software might be the best. Yeah, and that is very true, isn't it? And I think you're right there, John, when you said about the fact that you'll just hit the ones that you are currently using. You know, that recency bias, that favorite. You know, that's definitely going to be one. I mean, I would tick best bookkeeping software of the year to be QuickBooks, but actually, is it the best bookkeeping software? It's difficult
Maybe
to
not.
say. Yeah, maybe Linebooks is actually a better bookkeeping software. You know what I mean? Like it's that, right? It is that biasm definitely comes into go. And Mel says I found Client very easy and very friendly with lots of functions. Yeah, and he said that on the award as well, at the awards as well. So that was great to see. Right then, okay, so you know how we said we've got to really go through these quickly.
We spent 30 minutes on the same thing.
So is everyone strapped in, ready for the rest of the one? Because we're going to go fast. All right. First of all, we've got a lovely story to bring to play about Ask the Accountant. Ask the Accountant, we have cool friends. Has had many an amazing guest on there, and in fact, obviously, the guests get themselves a nice little trump card. But we had a lovely story to share with you all. Now we can't say who it was or any particular details, but let's put it this way: one of the guests was looking to employ get a new employee on board, and during that employee being onboarded, during the interview process, they mentioned the fact that they actually found that particular employee from Ask the Accountant. We have cool friends. And basically saw that person and thought, you know what, that's the sort of person I want to work for. So I think that, you know, we celebrated the fact we had 30,000 views, and we've celebrated the fact that we've had a really successful first year. But I think that might top it off. I mean, when we sat down at the beginning of what we wanted Ask the Accountant to do, we wanted to just make a difference in any way possible. I think helping in one small little way someone get a recruitment, I think it's pretty huge, isn't it? What's your thoughts on that one?
Yeah, I mean, it is incredible. That it made my day this morning when you told me that story, because you know the fact that someone's watched an episode of Ask the Accountant, We've Got Cool Friends, and gone, that's the type of person I want to work for, then applied for the job and got it, like, and highlighted, this was where I found you, this is why I want to work with you. That's just incredible. So, and I think it brings even more value to us doing the podcast pit stops.
Yes.
And
yes.
you know, like, that person on We Have Cool Friends had basically 40 minutes to an hour of our time where we deep dived into their story about them and their background and what drives them and motivates them. And it obviously, it qualified that person to be the employer of choice for that new employee. And that's incredible. Now, hopefully the podcast pit stops will continue to build on that and will give people a social presence and stuff that, because you and I are lucky. I've said this in the past. You and I get invited onto a lot of podcasts. Like one just went live with me on today from Phil Hoban of the Story of podcast, where we deep dive into people's stories again. And I was a guest on that, and that's great. But not everyone gets that opportunity. And that's why we want to do the podcast pit stop, so that everyone gets an opportunity to have a 15, 20-minute segment they can use on their they can use it on their social medias, they can use it on their website, whatever they want to do with it, that talks about them. Like, that's the key.
Yeah.
So yeah, if that's what we end up being able to bring to the table for our listeners, then I'm extremely proud of that fact.
Yeah, and if we never do it again, the one is enough, right? But yeah, let's hope.
Yeah, we can close down now, right?
That's it, job done. Yeah,
I can stay in bed an extra half an hour.
Last episode of Ask the Accountant, we've achieved what we wanted to achieve. But no, and hopefully, like we said, Penelope's goes live, like you said, the next week or something.
Either this week or next, yep.
Yeah, if that gets her any traction or anything like that, then that's what it's all about, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like more people that we can get in front of people, and that's why we called it We Have Cool Friends. It is about highlighting the fact that there are so many amazing people in the industry that we need to celebrate that, right? And that's why that podcast is there. So really, really happy for that individual. Hopefully, fingers crossed, we can share more details of it soon, when it's all kind of gone over the TikTok and everything else. But yeah, absolutely love that. That's it's a great little story to go forward. Right. We do need to say that it was QuickBooks Roadshow's final visit in Brighton last week as well. Again, can't believe that was last week. That was a lovely one, and it was great to see so many people there. Got to give out a few more top trumps as well, because people asked about them. So
nice.
To hand them out. That was always nice to do. But it was a great event. Just sad that it's kind of come to a close, really. It was one of, or for us, it was probably one of the best, road shows that we've been on. I know there's bias because we went to every single one of them, but it felt like there was a lot of buzz. I think that's mainly down to the fact that QuickBooks got so much going on at the moment. There's so many new plates spinning at this point in time. There was a lot to talk about, and you could speak to every person in that room and it was having a different conversation about some aspect of it. Maybe not even QuickBooks, maybe something else related. Employment was a huge part of it, and I know, shout out to Rebecca Williams for her talk about helping the industry in terms of recruitment and everything else. But yeah, it was a fantastic event. That final one as well, it was me and Peter on taking your seat. So your seat was
saw pictures.
Kept warm. So we got to talk about our experiences and our story and everything else, and that was it was just a really good one. It was great to see kind of Peter, who's another accounting council member, give his opportunity to talk about his story and how it is, because his whole thing is about making sure that he can find opportunities for people in the industry. That's what his whole business is all about, and we want to celebrate that, right? We want to push that as far as we possibly can. Great event.
A great series of events. Like I was knackered after them, like absolutely shattered, but what a series of events. Great locations, great turnout to all of them, great energy, great atmosphere. So yeah, really enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to an extended roadshow next year. Hopefully they'll do a bigger, longer one, and we'll be on them all again. That'd be incredible.
Yeah, I think watch this space. They've definitely, or they are very close to announcing one of them, one of the dates. So that'd be good to hear, and be great to see that kind of going to fruition. And Paul was there. Paul was at the event, and it went by so fast. So many people seeing catch up. Yeah, we, like, me and Paul, like, we saw each other many times throughout the event, but never actually had a chance. Every time we was like there, we were talking to someone else. That kind of showed how it went and how the
pretty
day
much
was.
Summarizes every single one, doesn't it?
Yeah. I mean, even this time round. Yeah, I even couldn't go to any of the actual other talking spots, because every single one of those talking spots I had another meeting with someone else to talk through X, Y, Z. So yeah, it was very, very good event. It did highlight to me though, and this is more of a moan than anything else, of the train situation at this point in time, because every one of them bar Glasgow, I had an issue with the train, and that's just the trains, and that's just madness, isn't it, when you think about it? Going up to Glasgow, fine. Glasgow to Edinburgh, fine. Edinburgh back to London, fine. London to Reading was a nightmare. We've already spoke about that.
Yeah.
Leeds, Derby to Leeds. I paid for first class so I can get some work done. Didn't even get to sit down, so I was standing the whole way. And then Leeds back to Derby was delayed by over an hour and a half. And then finally, cherry on the top was Brighton. Derby to London for the Luca Awards. Again, another 2-hour delay. Like, it's just, and you had delays as well, didn't you? Like,
yeah,
we're running our businesses around train services at the moment, and every time we book one, we've got that hesitance about, is this actually going to happen? I mean, not long ago they cancelled all the trains to Derby, didn't they? I was stranded in London for potentially a night. So yeah, it's an awkward one, isn't it? I mean, what you don't have? Well, you've had just as many issues, haven't you, on yours?
Yeah. In theory, I am slightly better off because I'm on the East Coast Main Line. So Edinburgh direct to London. It's a great train service from LNER. the priority is given to that line. Like if there's a fault on the Derby line and a fault on the East Coast Main Line, Network Rail are going to deal with the East Coast Main Line that's first because that's the busier line.
Yeah.
So from that point of view, I'm lucky. But like I woke up yesterday and there's a landslip between just after Newcastle, I think, which means there's no trains on the northbound line, so they're down to one line because half the ground underneath the tracks slipped down the hill due to the amount of rain. The infrastructure just doesn't seem to be able to cope with this weather anymore. So yeah, no, and then you've got the reliability of strikes. I mean, the number of events I should have been at this year, like Peter Kay and stuff like that, plans dropped because of strikes. It's the train system's a mess at the moment, and the inconsistency between services is like, I said it in my day in the life video last week, like the quality difference between an LNER first class and a Aviva Avanti West, whatever they're needing called first class, night and country. Cross country was that was the one. Cross country was horrific. So yeah, night and day difference. Like there's no standardization. Yet the train tickets don't seem to vary hugely in cost. What value you get for that train ticket?
My most expensive ticket was Derby to Leeds and Leeds to Derby, and Leeds to Derby back as an open return it was. And that's cross country, which is, like you just said, is not it's barely it's just a separate area. There's no drinks, there's no anything. It was, and again, I stood on one of them. I was 2 hours, an hour and a half late back on the other. So
yeah,
it doesn't make sense, does it? It just, and I think what frustrates me about it is that we so reliant on it. I mean, last week I was in London for 4 days, London, Brighton 4 days. This week I'm in London for 4 days. Week after I'm in London for 3 days. Week after that I'm in London for 3 days. Like I need those trains to work, otherwise I'm never going to get to those events, right? Like you just said.
I mean, having said that, so obviously 10 days ago I had to fly back from Cyprus for the emergency family bereavement. But so we got a flight back one night. We got into Gatwick, so we couldn't get a direct flight to Edinburgh because they only do that twice a week.
Yeah,
got into Gatwick about 11:30 at night, and we booked in at the Hilton in Gatwick Airport. Literally in the airport, like it was phenomenal. Literally in the airport at check-in. So we went in, crashed for the night, got up at 4 o'clock in the morning to check in and go for our flight. But as you walked out the door from the hotel, which is in the airport, that's the EasyJet check-in desk right there. Checked in, went through, had breakfast, got on the plane, landed. We were at my mother-in-law's house by 8:30 in the morning.
No way. Really?
And so I'm sat there, and then like from Edinburgh Airport, you've got trams or you've got buses or you've got taxis, like door to door, no problems at all. So I am seriously considering any events that are now in London. I may just fly.
Yeah, and
depending on cost differences.
Well, the cost, it'll be cheaper. Like that's the scary thing. Like you'll be able to get a cheaper flight there. And the annoying thing is, it's from an eco point of view, it's far worse, right? Like, but what can you do about it? Like if we can't rely on the other solution, and you just not have a choice. Paul mentions the fact of chauffeur service. We lovely to have that sort of disposable income, wouldn't it? But but coach, I've done the coach before to London, and it's 6 hours, I think it was, 5 and a bit maybe. Yeah, it's I mean, I was able to do work, but I don't know if that's.
I wouldn't be able to. I'd be travel sick.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Oh no. I mean, I'm still scarred from when we used to go to school ski trip to Italy. Well, back then the Mont Blanc tunnel because of the big fire in it years and years ago. So what was normally a 12-hour trip became like a 24-hour coach journey. So I still have trauma from that, post-traumatic stress from those trips. So I refuse to use coaches unless I absolutely have to. But it makes traveling in the UK on public transport very difficult.
Madness, isn't it? Madness. And even out of all that as well, we're even talking about the newest train network of all of them, the Elizabeth line, like that was one of our pain points, right? Like it's not even just we're relying on the old infrastructure, even the new infrastructure can't cope.
LNER announced last week a fleet of new trains have just been signed to be built for them, which will be electric, diesel, and battery powered. So when there's no electric line, they can still run on the battery if they need to. But that still doesn't deal with the fact that tracks are now missing because there's been a landslip, or the fact that they haven't actually got a driver to go on the train to drive the train.
Yeah, exactly right.
So, who knows? Cool. Moving on.
Yeah, we said we weren't going to get on a soapbox.
Yeah, I know, right?
Anyway, International Accounting Day was last week, and it was a fantastic day, wasn't it? And that's why under international. And QuickBooks released a brand new
media campaign.
Media campaign, that's the one. So they released a brand new media campaign for Heroes Behind the Heroes. And it was, I thought it was done very, very well. So if anyone's not seen it, do jump on the social media.
Would that be because you and I had quite a lot of influence?
Yeah.
On it all.
Well, the bits we said came out quite well anyway.
The bits. If you don't like it, it's because it could have been worse.
Yeah. But no, I love that. I love that campaign. I think they really pushed it in terms of Brighton as well. We had an opportunity to dress up as a hero. We had Nick Williams run on to
video footage.
Yeah, run onto the actual stage as a hero. And I think this is a really fun campaign. We were all you had the opportunity to get yourself a nice little box as well, little goodie box. There was a link on one of my social posts to get yourself one. It might still be there, might still have opportunity to get it, but it was lovely. Some sweets, a little mask that you got to wear, and all sorts. So yeah, but what have you seen it?
Quite happy with the mug.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think that's quite a nice mug for the hero behind the heroes. Like, I've been sat there drinking out of that.
I know Birmingham and Manchester have just had the campaign launch there, so you should see them on buses and trains and everything around there. So yeah, it was a good one. I think this is going to be a while as well. I know I've been talking to some of the social media team there at Intuit, and there are some really good ideas coming forward. We've got some that in our plans as well. But yeah, I think it'll be quite a nice little campaign to get involved on. It's fun, right? Like, yeah, it should be a good one to see. Have you been able to see all of them? You've seen Sleeping Beauty and
well, I've seen the shorts on YouTube.
That's all they'll be. Yeah.
So they were good. I think they're putting the money where their mouth is now. So at the start of this year, they said, no, accountants and bookkeepers, you are the front of our focus now. And we said, oh, all these features in QuickBooks, they are accounting and bookkeeping focused. That's great. And then they did the roadshow and stuff. And everyone you speak to at Accounting Council, which got launched this year, was very much, it feels like they're not just talking about it, they are delivering on it.
Yeah.
But then to deliver I'm going to go on the assumption, I don't know the figures, and we never will, but I'm going to go on the assumption this is a multi-million-pound media campaign just to get it built, never mind launched and advertised and stuff.
Yeah.
So the fact that they've put that much money behind a campaign to celebrate accountants and bookkeepers supporting clients, I think, like, who else is advertising on social media those adverts? Like, all right, Xero did some banners at DAS and other events where they've penciled on a cape around someone, but that's about it. Like, it's not a thorough advertising campaign where they're promoting accountants and bookkeepers. So I think this is great.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what else is going to come out of the campaign, to be honest, just based on what they've already said behind the scenes. So yeah, and I generally think this is one that as accountants we can get behind as well, in terms of having some fun with and pushing as well, because who doesn't love a Marvel film, or you know what I mean? Like, that's the opportunity for us, isn't it, to kind of jump on those sort of things. And any of the memes that you get from the Marvel films or any of those ones are ripe for us to kind of poke fun at and use in social media campaigns going forward, thanks to this campaign. So no, I'm looking forward to it. I mean, we kind of started it a little bit already with Employment Hero when we were rushing around with
I mean, if anything,
on, weren't we?
maybe Employment Hero missed a trick here. Like, they had the idea of the capes and the masks and stuff for Accountex North, which was great, but they obviously don't have the budgets behind their marketing team that QuickBooks do. But yeah, QuickBooks have capitalized on this idea versus, say, Employment Hero.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. But it was nice to see International Accounting Day being, so widely celebrated, which is good to see.
Yeah, it was nice to see someone spend some money on it more than just a social media post. So yeah, it was good to see.
To be fair, I think they wanted us to be more involved last year, didn't they, for International Accounting Day? That was there a strike on or something? There was something that stopped, wasn't it?
Yeah,
that was always going to be the start of the Accounting Council, wasn't it? That was.
Yeah, trains again. So hey ho.
It all comes around full circle, eh? All comes around full circle. Speaking of Employment Hero have a little award ceremony on Tuesday, which will be I'll be there, so I'm looking forward to going to their award ceremony. Am I disappointed or am I relieved? It's not going to be a black tie event. Is that good or bad? I don't know. I'm undecided yet. I did enjoy it was nice to see everyone in their black tie events for the Luca Awards. It was very nice. But this one's a smart casual, so at least that's less things to carry, right? Like we just turn up and go there. So yeah, they've got their awards ceremony, which is their end of year appreciation ceremony as well. And that should be a nice event to talk about next week. I think we'll compare and contrast. I've got a feeling which one's going to have the glitz and the glamour, and probably had the best food as well. I must admit, Luca, the food was absolutely sensational. It was amazing. Although there was a very strange situation where there was a whole clove of garlic on one of the meals. It was on the main meal, and I didn't eat it because I thought that was weird. And then the people who did eat it felt like they shouldn't have eaten it. Like, why put it on the plate?
Decoration purposes only.
Yeah. Very strange, that one. But yeah, we got canapes and everything else on the Tuesday for the and we'll see who wins the Partner of the Year award for the UK. I know for it because it's strange how they do it. They do it for each individual region, don't they? So it's like Singapore and all these others. I know Intuit QuickBooks, they're up for Partner of the Year award as well. So good to see if they can bring that through. So yeah, could be a good one to bring forward. Anything you want to add to the Employment Hero? Appreciate. I know you couldn't make it, could you? So you were.
Wasn't going to be able to make it. So yeah, no, I think it's nice that softwares are starting to do more to show their appreciation, and they get that perhaps their customers, aka accountants and bookkeepers, shouldn't be taken for granted. So yeah, it's very good.
Yeah, I mean, I was already in London anyway, so for me it was a no-brainer to go. But I would have, I was grateful to be invited and really looking forward to the event. And we'll try and get as much coverage as we possibly can on the event, and we'll talk about it next week. I think it's going to be the best possible outcome for that one. And then our final topic of the day is accounting manager is no more. So after we were just talking about the fact that accounting manager, should they not, or should they have won the practice management, we can leave that to Brett to breathe now. We don't need to keep talking about it. But accounting manager, as of the 24th of November, is going to be called Bright Manager. So this is them since they joined Bright in March 2022. Accounting manager was become an integral part of the Bright portfolio. My personal opinion is it's their shining star of the Bright portfolio. But who am I to say if I get to have an opinion on that one or not? But accounting manager will not be known as accounting manager; it'll be known as Bright Manager. and makes it much more easier to understand their Bright brand going forward. One of the things that people should be aware of, though, is the URL is going to completely change. So you won't be able to go to accountingmanager.co.uk or whatever it was before. Now the only place to get there would be manager.brightsg, Bright Software Group, I suppose it is, .com. And you'll see that from 9 a.m. on Friday, the 24th of November.
Is that going to change all their client portals as well?
I mean, I'm never going to mention that because, I feel like, or maybe my client portal will actually start working from the. You know what? I'm excited then because 24th of November 2023, finally I get to have my client portal back. So that'll be nice to see, wouldn't it?
I wouldn't guarantee that.
I mean, there's potential. There's hope, right? There's hope that my team, can finally get, all my clients can finally get access to their client portal. That'll be really nice. And maybe, because they've also said that the support team's going to change. So Bright Manager is now going to be Bright Manager Support, not Accounting Manager Support. So maybe they'll even reply back to some of my tickets that I've got outstanding. Maybe that could be another good thing, right? And then they've got, there's a whole host of other changes. I believe as well that there's an update to the time tracking as well. I remember seeing that, but that's not what I've got in front of me. And there's a bright modern new look. So gone would be the green, I assume, and in will be the blue. So, Jan, what's your opinion on the change from Accounting Manager to Bright Manager?
I don't know. I always liked the brand Accountancy Manager. It told you what it did in the tin.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I also get why Bright want to be more prevalent and people to be aware of Bright. So it's interesting. Like, it'll be nice to see what the new look is and the user interface. I assume it's just a new skin, like a new color scheme. It's not. They're not going to rearrange the user experience and infrastructure.
No.
I assume it's just going to be a new coat of paint over what was already there. I
think this is the start of the Bright ID mentality, though, because they were going to move to what they were calling a Bright ID. So instead of having different login credentials for each of your different services, it was one login credential to route them all. So that seems like that's going to be part and parcel of it as well. So that'll be a feature, right? That's
I've seen other softwares try and bring that in, and it's been a very painful experience for their users. So
I think it's timely, isn't it? It will get better over time, I think.
It's just going to need to be well managed. The support team are going to have to be accepting that they're going to get a lot of the same questions about logging in and my link's not working, or I didn't see that email, or whatever it, or I forgot, or whatever it is. And so I imagine the support team are going to get hammered. But it makes sense to bring it all into one brand. Whether Bright is the right, I don't know. It's a bit considering how specific.
What does Bright Manager do? Like, for the uninitiated, what does Bright Manager do?
Yeah, like.
But then again, what does Carbon do? What does Pixie do? Like,
fair enough. Yeah, but no, good for them. Let's see what it looks like.
Yeah, I wonder how much though Accountancy Manager was part of their success, as in bringing new people, new to the franchise or new to practice management software.
Who came in because of Accountancy Manager and walked out with Accountancy Manager, Bright Pay, BTC, etc.
I can't imagine anyone moved to BTC, but that's or Bright Tax it's called now. But well, I hope not. All right. Okay. So I believe there's no. In fact, it even says it maintain the same exceptional functionality you've come to expect from Bright. So maybe it's not an update to their what do you call it? Their maybe it's not something to do with the time element of it. But anyway, it's something to keep an eye on. And speaking of Accounting Manager, maybe that could be the name of our weekly podcast, Ask the Accountant. Maybe we could call it Ask the Accountant Accountancy Manager, because it's now available, right? So maybe that's an opportunity for us to jump on there. If you think that's a name that is available, I'm just about to put the link into the notes now, into the comments now. we have got our campaign live for you to decide who wins these wonderful top trump cards, and it gives you an opportunity to go in and vote. So if you click on that little link I've just put in there, which is our normal Ask the Accountant link, you get the opportunity at the top to do a vote for Weekly Insight, Tech Talk and Industry Insight, Tech Trends and Industry Intel, Weekly Roundup, Weekly Dive into Tech and Industry, Weekly Tech and Industry Check-In, or Weekly Tech and Industry Insight Live. And there's even an option for other, and for other, people like, Ask the Accountant, Accounting Manager could be available for you if you wanted to bring that in. So yeah, can we steal it yet? Is it? Do you
No.
think it's trademark still?
I think it's going to be trademarked for a very long time.
Damn it. We could try though. Paul says I need to jump on the new Chariot advert. Yeah, it is a really, really good advert. And he also says he will often take the coach going to my daughter's dance performance. Oh, lovely. Okay, maybe you've got a better coach service than we have, but yeah, ours is definitely not ideal for getting to London anyway, put it that way. Could I ask how much it'll cost if you do confirmation statement for a limited company? Best thing to do is just reach out to either of us and go through our websites, and we can quote accordingly on those ones. Well, yeah, I think that's been an interesting week in the world of accountancy and insights, hasn't it? Yeah, I feel like it's going to calm down a little bit next week. I can't imagine, or the next until
we're going into Christmas now, aren't we? So everyone's kind of getting ready for tax season. So we tend to see software companies take the foot off the gas a bit and chill out for a bit over Christmas and into the new year. So yeah, fingers crossed. I mean, I say that Client Engager's not got any intentions of it. We've got a huge roadmap to deliver between now and New Year, so we'll keep pushing.
Yeah, and we know QuickBooks got a few announcements coming as well. So yeah, keep tuned on those ones. Well, thank you everyone for coming along and putting some comment into it and being the third host of the day. It's been absolutely brilliant to have your insights coming forward. Other than the Client Engager updates, anything else that people should be aware of your end?
No, just that episode of Phil Hoban's podcast, The Story Of, is out today. So have a look for that on all your social media channels and podcast channels. And yeah, we're just going to keep focusing on pushing on Client Engager updates because there's a lot.
I love it. For me, I'm off to London for another 4 days. Not excited about it. Yeah. And after this, I need to go and try and find my wedding ring because I've lost that. So, yeah, awkward day.
How long have you been married?
I know. Yeah, very, very worried. Okay, but thank you everyone for listening, liking, subscribing, all of that sort of stuff. You guys are the third wheel of this wonderful Ask the Accountant podcast, and we thank you all. So we will see you next week for another exciting episode of Ask the Accountant at 8:30 a.m. as normal. And if you want to see it on anywhere else, it's on your podcast services of choice. Thank you, everybody. See you next week, and we'll run the outro. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.
Bye.